Mental ill health is not rising. That's such a bold statement. I'll lay out some facts here. On average, young adults between the ages of 18 and 24 in recent years have been on a rise of different anxiety symptoms and depressive symptoms compared to adults in general. This is from a very reputable scientific research site, KFF, Key Facts Finding, in the UK. We have also known that people are not now dying because of the lack of happiness. They are dying because of the lack of hope. There's also what is known as the death of despair between young adults and not the aging population. Now you might say, so where is she going with this? Everything I've just said is contradicting my very statement of mental ill health is not rising. Hi, I'm Toyin Okunuga. Thanks a lot for joining me again. I am the self-realization mindset expert in my field, and I'm here to talk to you about mental health not rising. And you might think, what is she talking about? She's off her head. Mental ill health is not rising. The mismanagement of the mind is what's rising. And where am I going with this, and why do I feel qualified to speak to you about mental ill health? I say again, it's not the mental ill health that's rising. It's the management of the state of our mind that's been misaligned, and in other words, mismanaged. And I say that from a very strong point of personal experiences. And I'm going to delve a lot deeper into my story so you can have a lot of flavour from where I'm coming from and why I feel so convicted or convinced. I have a conviction that, yes, it's not rising in that respect of just mental ill health because of pandemic. It's the mismanagement. It's our lack of being able to find solutions to manage our stress, to have emotional maturity, to deal with life. Yes. So just a little bit I'll say about me, which I've said in previous videos before. At the age of 2 months old, I got fostered by the most amazing family in the UK, a white family. I was the only black child in a community of 4,000 residents. It was amazing. At the age of 8, I got suddenly taken by my biological parents. And of course, this they did because of needs must, so to say. But I was devastated. In fact, I had a lot of physical ailments at the time that I had no idea had to do with the traumatic event I had. So I was taken to Nigeria when I turned 8. All ties were cut from me and my foster parents. I later learned that my foster sisters, they also had traumatic events. Some of them couldn't sleep. They didn't want to eat because they'd lost their little sister. I was the baby of the family. I was devastated. I had a lot of earaches, tinnitus. Very late into my late 30s that continued. It was not diagnosed to say one way or the other. When I turned 8, I went to Nigeria. From then on, I suffered a lot more traumatic events in my life. My book Story-stroll says everything in depth. But I'm going to go a lot deeper now so that people will understand where I'm coming from. I got used to my biological family. It was amazing. I loved my dad. I was his little angel because I was his first girl after 3 boys. And though it was traumatic that I'd left my foster parents, my dad did a great job to get me under his wing. And my mum, she tried her best as well. But I was my dad's little baby girl. And we went to Nigeria with my other siblings. So we adjusted, as you do as children. I thrived in my primary school. I'd always come first. And I remember getting a cross pen, which is similar to a Parker pen, every time, even though I was devastated. My brain functionality was still aligned to positivity, our natural state of love. It was still nicely aligned. When I turned 9, I got introduced to my real father in Nigeria. I had to leave my siblings that I then started to get used to after being devastated from leaving my foster parents. I was crushed when I was told that I would leave my biological family and my dad that I thought was my dad, but had now all of a sudden become my stepfather. At the age of 12, I moved in finally with my real biological father and his family. My life had turned upside down yet again. But life only does what? Promise us life. It's how we navigate through it that makes all the difference. Was I being treated anyway? No, they didn't have a clue. Neither, I was a child. Medical practitioners, that's not a big deal to anyone in Nigeria in terms of thinking there's anything wrong with you, because what were the signs that were exhibiting in me? Tinnitus, migraine, cries every night, loads of bad dreams and seeing things. But it was just down to, at the time, me not just coping well, or because I was with white parents that had spoilt me and I just didn't adjust. That's part of being mismanaged. Hey, they did what they did then, or did nothing, because they knew what? Nothing to do with the mental state of the mind. I carried on. I'd left my family that I loved dearly and my darling sister. That was my baby sister that we always played with our Cindy's together, wrote stories, drew pictures. I'd left them again. That must have turned my amygdala upside down. My limbic system was not aligned. My brain and my mind. My brain, the physical aspect, 1% of our body, of us, which is a physical, and my mind, 99% of who we are, we're out of balance. And that's where my journey continued. Through that, I was devastated. And at the age of 12, I got sexually abused by a very close family member. That turned my world. Is there anything worse than upside down? Because that's what I felt. Was there any management in my life to cope with mental illness that I'm sure people would say that I was going through? It was not mental illness. The depressive moments that I had, they were my messenger servants telling me that something's not quite right and deal with it. But did I? No, I was a child. I couldn't deal with it. What happened? I had a lot of suicidal thoughts. I started to have aches and pains in my body. Why? Because there was a lot of dis-ease in my body. And that was later turning into diseases. So was that a mental illness? No. But a mismanagement of what was going on with me. I got sexual abuse that lasted for over 3 years. And I grew up, stole my passport, returned to the UK, thinking that everything that I'd experienced was left behind. No, they had their own passports. They came with me. Everything that I had suppressed and repressed were manifesting in different ways. And it affected me. But I suppressed those because I was still not able to cope with the traumatic events. I reached out to about 3 therapists. I think one replied to say, I should just calm, just try and manage my situation. I put that down to me actually triggering what had happened to them. Again, that was mismanaged. If I got dealt with and everything that I was going through was mentioned again when I had unexplained operations, the doctors didn't know. They would say, what is wrong with you today? Not what happened to you, because they knew no better. Again, does that indicate that I had a mental illness? No. My depressive symptoms were just my servants to say, Toyin, take a hold with yourself and deal with it. But I didn't know how. I didn't even know anything was wrong with me. Neither did the doctors, even though I was having a lot of unexplained illnesses or unexplained operations that I had to have. Now that's my case, and I won't go further into my story, but Hush Towards Your Baby, I've got a lot of links below that you can see, just snippets, free ebooks to see. Where am I going with this? Today, we are living in a world that is so progressive, more progressive than our technological advancement in terms of how we are meant to align how we are now, and with a lot of advancement. So what do we need to do? Well, medical practitioners and everyone in the field of medicine advancements or whatever, they think that they will need to raise the bar. That's external when it comes to medicine. What we need to do as individuals is to know that we can self-regulate. Now, I'm not saying do it on your own. You have to seek help. But how do you even know you're suffering? Those triggers, things that are happening right now in the world that are so devastating, we have to get to the root cause of issues. That's what I had to do. I had to dig deep. I had to come out and start to heal by sharing my story, because that is it. When you start to have the self-awareness, you start to then self-regulate by identifying the issue, knowing that you can hold space for yourself and have the grace to tell yourself that it is okay, you are not running mad. The depressive symptoms that you're having is okay in the sense of what you have gone through. I went through a lot. So the fact that I became depressed and suicidal was not the fact that I had mental illness. They were my messengers telling me that what I had gone through was so traumatic that I now need to deal with it. It's not an illness. And that's what I did when I got turned down by therapists, because then I had to work on myself by getting to the root cause. How did I do that? It was in a haphazard way, but if I want to put it in a logical order for you, it'll be 1, I gave myself grace to say, Toyin, you're okay. What happened to you, what you're going through is normal considering what you went through. I did a lot of writing, and that is expressive writing in terms of a therapeutic way. I didn't know that was what it was at the time, but I did a lot of it and it helped. But that didn't heal me in its entirety, because I needed to know why that person did what they did. And that is when you have to come out, because otherwise I was entangled with that person. Neurologically, you get entangled with a person. You need to release yourself from the person and heal yourself. Forget about them. You self-regulate by healing yourself, getting help for you by talking to people. You can do, but as I said, I'm not saying you shouldn't get medical help, but this is how I'm saying that it's not a disease, it's just a symptom. It's what you have gone through that your body is warning or telling you as a messenger to say you need help. I'll just give an analogy. If you get the COVID vaccine, when I had that, the whatever resulted from that could have been headaches, nausea. So if I felt a bit, if I had a headache, I won't think, oh my gosh, I've got a headache, what's this? Well, it was as a result of the COVID vaccine. It's the same thing with depression. It's a sign to help you. It's helping us to say, what you've gone through, deal with it. I'm not going to go through all the steps, but what I will say is that it's not mental illness that's on the rise, it's the mismanagement of it. We need people to let us express ourselves and go out and say it's okay to get to the root of this, and that's what I did. And yes, some of my family members are not happy with me, but I need to heal, and that's why I came out and I've started to heal so I can help others. So when you suppress it and that we want to keep the society in a comfortable state where people have a lot of issues but we don't have the means or know how to, and you suppress them, the mental illness will be on a rise. But it's not the mental illness, it's the mismanagement. We're not getting to the root bottom of it to say come out wholesomely and heal. And I've started my coaching program, so if you want to know how, they're in different stages of that self-awareness, reflection, and then you have to act. And that's what I did, to go and find out. Some people can't find out what happened to them, but I did. And then I could start to have empathy for that person, not totally forgive at that point, but I saw where they were coming from. And then I dealt with myself and start to now see myself whenever I'm being triggered, be an observer of me and say, Toyin, this is what you're going through. Observe your own life. So now when things trigger me, they don't really trigger me because I'm so in tune with my mind. I self-regulate. I'm aware. I'm conscious. I've brought out the repressed memories from the unconsciousness into my consciousness. Before I speak, I now think. And before I act. So guys, this is a very long video, but I will say it in its entirety. As a nation, we need to stop suppressing those things and trying to manage the situations. We need to get to the prevention stage where we have to start calling out people who have sexually abused people or who have hurt people. We need to get to the root cause of issues. I'm not saying sexual abuse is the only reason, even if it's a death. We need to deal with that. You have to go through it. The only way is through it. And that's what we need to do. Even if there's a death, we need to seek help in what I would say the love zone. We need to scream out in the love zone. It's okay to scream in a controlled environment. And that's what we need to do. So yes, it's the mismanagement of our mind. We have our mind and it is malleable. We have that neuroplasticity that, contrary to the fact that we don't change, we do all through our lives, wire and firing neurons every day, as long as you act with your mind. Whether you're not acting with it positively, it will be acting negatively. So you might as well think positively. And it's a struggle. It's not going to be peaceful. But now at least I've got to a level where I can self-reflect if I do act in a silly way. So guys, if you want to continue with me on this journey, subscribe and don't forget to hit that bell so that we can heal together. And yeah, there are links below if you want to know a lot more about me. Most importantly, get in touch so that you can book your own discovery call with me so I can get to the bottom with you. And I won't do hairy-fairy, we'll get to the bottom of it. Do you heal? Do you have family loyalty? Do you stay quiet and just get depressive symptoms? No. I go deep down. In order to heal, you must reveal. I love you guys. And remember, your inner child has a voice. It really does. And if you want to heal, you need to roar. I love you.